So welcome to part 2 of my top 5 best winter fragrances. For this one I wanted to go something a little bit sort of lighter or something that's sort of quite warming. So I picked a sort of nice blend of sort of more woody fragrances, but they are on the warmer side, or they've got some sort of more sort of spicy or woodier notes in. So I'm going to be back with my top 5 in just a second. So welcome to part 2 of my top 5 best winter fragrances. As I said, I've picked out some sort of woodier fragrances for this one, but with some sort of really warm feeling notes. So I've not gone for woods. I'm saving ouds for another. I'm saving ouds for another one of those. So the ouds will be coming up soon, as well as tobacco fragrances, and I'm gonna do a gourmand one as well. So this will be a series of 5. Possibly more if I decide I want to do another one, but yeah, so at the moment I'm keeping it to 5. So let's move into my top 5 now. The first one I've picked out is one that I think more people would think of more as like a summery fragrance, but to me this is a very sort of warming fragrance. It's got some beautiful notes in it. It's a very sort of soft, it's very I mean, it reminds me of being on vacation, specifically in Egypt. It reminds me of that. And the one that I've gone for, definitely a beautiful and one of the masterpieces from this house. This comes from the House of Tower, and it's L'air de Desert Morocain. And I absolutely love this one. I reviewed this one quite a while ago, and I've not worn it since, but it is one that I do keep coming back to every now and then to smell it. And like I say, this is one of those ones, it's got that beautiful sort of cedar in the base, but there's also some sort of spices and sort of herby smells that you get around it as well. Now, I mean, the notes that you got in the top of this one are coriander, cumin and petitgrain in the top. In the heart you got rock rose and jasmine. In the base notes you got cedar, vetiver and ambergris. So I mean, this goes together to making such a beautiful smell, and it, like I say, it reminds me of being on holiday in Egypt or somewhere hot where you got sort of it reminds me of that sort of, I mean, when I did my review of it, I compared it to sort of 5-star resort air, and that's exactly what it reminds me of. When I stayed in a 5-star resort in Egypt, and we were sort of right on the edge of the desert, and you had like you could smell like the markets and things like that, or like the different sort of incensey smells that you get from Egypt, from like the little villages and things like that, or like when somebody's doing that campfire or something like that, or like the excursions, and it sort of blows across the desert in the sort of in the early evening. So like that's the smell that it reminds me of, and it's such a beautiful sort of warming sort of holiday smell, which I think is perfect for winter. It's something that's going to warm you up, and it's going to give you those good vibes. Like I say, like being on holiday, so it'll take you back, give you some memories, especially if you've been to Egypt or Morocco, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you got like those sort of beautiful sort of warm smells that come off the market, and even reminds me a little bit of when I was younger and I got off of a plane and went down onto, well, I got off a plane on the runway, and without the jetways and things like that, and you got that warmth air that just blows across the runway, and you just go straight to your nostrils, and you know you're somewhere else. So I mean, L'air de Desert Morocain, that is my number 5 pick for my best winter fragrances as far as woody notes go. So in number 5, there we go. So moving on to my number 4, again, this is one that probably most people would think of as more of like a summertime fragrance, because it has got a little bit of freshness to it, but to me this is just a beautiful year-round fragrance. And what the house I'm going to go to is Mancera, so you can probably guess, if you're a big fan of the Mancera collection, which one I'm going to go for if I'm saying it's a little bit fresher and a bit more summery, and that is Cedrat Boise. Now, when I originally did I'm hoping I haven't murdered the pronunciation of this one, because when I did my original review I completely murdered it, and I can't even remember how I pronounced it back then. But Cedrat Boise, and this is just such a beautiful fragrance. You got a nice blend of sort of a couple of woody notes like the sandalwood, and you've got cedarwood in here as well. But then you've got some beautiful sort of other notes in there as well. I mean, you've got bergamot and jasmine which sit on the top, and then you've got also lemon and blackcurrant in there as well. I mean, people compare this one to the Creed Aventus. I'd say this one's definitely got much more of sort of a wintry, warmer vibe about it than the Creed Aventus. Creed Aventus I find sort of very, very fresh, a little bit more edgy. I find this one softer. It's not quite as overpowering. It's definitely sort of much more comforting and warming. So yeah, I mean, this one, I really enjoyed wearing this one. Another one with fantastic longevity and decent projection. Like I say, it's not as loud as you got Creed Aventus. It is very similar when you first smell it. That's what I noticed. That's the first impression I had of this one when I smelled it. I thought, oh, they're just trying to copy Creed Aventus. But when it dries down, I think it's a much more beautiful fragrance than Creed Aventus. It's not quite as powerful as Creed Aventus, which is what a lot of people like it for. But to me, it just gives it off a nice sort of warmer vibe, and with those woody notes, it just sort of, it makes you feel nice and warm and very, very comforted. So I think absolutely perfect for when it comes to sort of this time of year, and even in the Caribbean as well. I can enjoy wearing this one in the hotter weather when it comes to winter. The reason I'm still wearing a shirt is because, I don't know if you noticed, I've gone a little bit more casual in my later videos. The reason for that is because I normally shoot them when I come home from the gym. However, me and my wife are off to a VIP event tonight for the stores that I actually work for. So just before she gets home and we have to jump in the shower, I thought I'd shoot this video. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to be wearing tonight. It's got to be something that we sell. So it's probably going to be something along the lines of Interlude. I may go for Baccarat Rouge 540. I'm not quite sure yet. Or it could be any one of my creeds really. So I'm still deciding, but yeah, unfortunately I'm limited to wearing something that our stores wear really, just in case I'm ever asked about it. So in my number 4 spot, you've got Cedrat Boise from the wonderful house of Mancera. I've yet to try out a lot more of their fragrances, but I am looking forward to it because I understand there's some real powerhouses out there. Also, just quickly talking about the longevity of this one's fantastic. You're looking like an all-dayer with this one. So this one got me all the way through the morning, all the way through my day at work, and then all the way through the gym, and I could still smell it. Like I say, it's softer projection. You're looking at 2 to 3 feet maximum. So not like the massive projection that you would get with Aventus, but a much more unique and I think much warmer smelling fragrance than Aventus. So Cedrat Boise definitely makes it into my top 5 for the woodier notes. So moving into the top 3, for the 3rd spot, it's going to be one that, although this is a designer fragrance, I really don't consider this a designer fragrance. I think the quality of this fragrance is so good. The one that I've got comes from 2012. Now, last year they did release a new one. If you are a fan of Dior, you probably know the one I'm going to talk about, and it's Sauvage Parfum. I absolutely love this fragrance, and the myrrh and the vetiver and the blend of bergamot just give this such an amazing sort of warm smell, which is just so perfect for, I think it's just perfect for winter. This really sort of does remind me of winter. I mean, my wife is not a big fan of this one. My wife thinks this smells like church, like Catholic church, because of the myrrh in it. Personally, for me, I absolutely love this. Now, this one does actually catch my wife off guard sometimes. Sometimes I'll come home after a day of wearing it, and she can't stand it to begin with in the beginning of the day. But when I come home, and sometimes she'll say, "Oh, you smell really good today," or a couple of times we've met up for lunch, and she'll say, "Oh, you smell really good today. What are you wearing?" And then I'll just laugh because it's this, because I know she really doesn't like it. So I don't get to wear this one as often as I would like. Not to mention as well, of course, doing fragrance reviews every day, so I wear a different one every day. But I mean, this is one that I do go to my bottle every now and then. I do give it a little sniff because I really do love this fragrance. And like I say, with those myrrh notes and also the vetiver, it just gives such a sort of beautiful warming effect, and those bergamot notes just sort of give it a nice sort of little freshness to it as well, which just makes a perfect, beautiful fragrance. Now, the 2017, I'm not sure how much it compares to this one. They stopped making this one because I believe they had a couple of issues with getting, I'm guessing it's the myrrh, because that's the only thing that could sort of really be quite expensive. But I mean, the price that this was going for, it's hardly any wonder that they didn't make it for very long for the price that it was costing. It was like $100 for a bottle. Like I say, the quality of this one, I really don't think of this one as a designer fragrance because the quality is so good. I mean, when it comes to the longevity and the projection of this one as well, this one again is an all-day affair. This one makes it all the way through the day, all the way through the night. I can get through a full workout session with this one, no matter how much I'm sweating, and it's still there at the end of the day. And the projection, I mean, some people may say this one is a little bit linear because it does stay the same all the way throughout the day. Personally, I quite like it in this fragrance because it is an absolute beauty. So in number 3, One of the rare designers that makes it into my niche collection is Sauvage by Christian Dior, and that's the Parfum. Like I say, mine's the 2012 version. So into my top two. Now my number one I had pretty much picked out from the beginning. Is one of my favorite fragrances, but let's get in through number two first of all. Now what I've gone for with number two is one that I tried. This is another one where this is the only one from this house that I've tried, which I really did enjoy. After reading about it, I read how much it's sort of complimented and things like that. This is a brand for me that's also quite hard for me to get hold of many of their fragrances, because there's such a limited sort of variation available online. And the house I'm talking about is actually Roja. The one I've gone for is Danger Pour Homme. I really do enjoy wearing this fragrance. I wore this to a party when I was testing it, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, obviously, I did my boozy fragrances in my last one, in part one, and a lot of people ask me about Creation E or Enigma, which I'm dying to get my hands on, but every time I seem to go to Lucky Scent, it seems to be sold out, or it's unavailable. So I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that. I may have to wait until I get back to England or something and get into their boutique. I believe they've got a boutique in Burlington Arcade in London, and where I can really get to sort of experiment and really try out this line. Because normally when I go to a department store or anything like that, when I was in Miami, the only ones I come across there, I think they had like 5 different fragrances. They had Elysium, which I wasn't very fond of. To me, it just smelled like they were trying to produce another version of their own of Aventus. But yeah, to me, Roja's Danger Pour Homme is just such a beautiful sort of woody fragrance, and it's so well blended. It's a very classy smelling fragrance, definitely sort of more of a mature kind of fragrance. But I mean, again, something that I would expect from this kind of price range. This is definitely in the higher price range when it comes to, even when it comes to niche fragrances. You're sort of looking like $500 mark around there, $400-500 mark for a bottle of this. But yeah, the longevity is fantastic, and the projection, although this one I found is a little bit softer, you're still looking at around 2 to 3 feet projection, but longevity just goes on forever. So, I mean, that was my experience with this one. Now, talking about some of the notes that you're going to get in this one, in the top you've got bergamot, cumin, lavender, lemon, and tarragon, which just give it a sort of a nice sort of citrusy punch to the top of it. It's a little bit similar, sort of similar vibe to Lair de Desert Morocain, in the way that those sort of notes play together. It's sort of very warming, but also you've got a little freshness to it as well. Now in the heart notes you've got jasmine, lily of the valley, and violet. Now in the base notes you've got a whole bunch of notes. So you've got ambergris, you've got castoreum, cedarwood, clove, galbanum, leather, musk, oak moss, patchouli, rhubarb, tonka bean, vanilla, vetiver, and woody notes. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of woods in there. But yeah, this makes a very really classy smelling fragrance, and a very beautiful sort of mature fragrance. It's definitely one that's sort of going to stand out and make you a little bit more unique, and definitely another one that's with those sort of warming notes. It's just perfect for the winter time. So in number 2 position goes to Roja's Danger Pour Homme. So into the top spot. Now those of you who do watch my channel will know that I'm a huge fan of this one. It's one of my favorites from one of the best known houses out there as far as niche fragrances go, and that comes from the house of Creed, and my number 1 is Creed Viking. Since I first smelled this one, I'm very proud to say I got the first bottle of this that landed in the Caribbean. Thankfully I work for the retailer, so I do know the rep, and she gave me the very first one. I loved it from the second I first smelt this. I love those beautiful sort of lemon citrusy notes that sit on the top, but then it comes down to something so warming and so sort of spicy. You've got those sort of peppery notes in there, but then you've got that sort of beautiful woods in the base, and it just makes, to me, it just makes a perfect sort of, this is a perfect fragrance for all year round. But I mean, you've got the freshness for there when it's there in the summer, and then you've also got those warming notes as well, which are perfect for the winter. So I mean, it's a perfect all year round fragrance. But to me, when it comes to woody fragrances for winter, there's no more perfect fragrance, I don't think, than Creed Viking. A lot of people didn't warm to this straight away. It took a little while because they wanted another Aventus that was going to be like the big follow-up, because this was their first big release since Aventus, which has been out sort of 7 to 8 years by the time, 7 years by the time this one came out. So it was much anticipated. A lot of people were disappointed to find it wasn't another Aventus. To me, it's something much more beautiful. It's a little bit more deeper. It's a bit more complex, and it's much more unique as well. Aventus been cloned so many times now, and everybody's sort of tried to do their own sort of spin of it. To me, this stands out, and it's a little bit more unique. You got, I mean, you got similar sort of longevity and similar power to it. Not quite, obviously not quite as powerful as Aventus. This is quite a strong throwing fragrance, so this may be even the one that I choose to wear tonight. Because it would be nice to wear it again. It has been a little while since I've worn this one. Like I say, the longevity of this one is great, and I just love the complexity and the way that this one smells. And I think it's just a classy, very, very classy and unique smelling fragrance, one that I really do enjoy. So I mean, that's my thoughts. That's my top 5 for as far as woody and sort of citrusy notes goes. So woody notes, woody fragrances with that little sort of fresh kick to them, which are all perfect for this time of year. So I'm off to go and get ready for my night out now with my wonderful wife. She'll be jumping in the shower, I'm sure, hope before me, because it takes her longer to get ready. Not always, but most of the time. Thankfully I don't have my hair to do. That's probably one of the reasons why. As usual, please like, comment and subscribe. It means that world to me if you subscribe to my channel, if you enjoy my content. So please do, because I've got loads more great videos to come. Other than that, make sure you follow me on Instagram. That way you can keep up to date with all my scents of the day, any videos I've got releasing, anything like that. You can find me at Luxury Fragrance Boss. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well. That way you never miss a video, because you get notified anytime I'm dropping a new video. Other than that, stay smelling fantastic. I look forward to seeing you very soon, and thank you very much for watching.